おいちょいあんまえぐいとアップできねえじゃん
Not in the mood for a skit today. Sorry. A bad taste in my mouth. Amazon Riders Season 2. Hello and welcome to Earth Alien ProtoMet. Today I'll be talking about Amazon Riders Season 2. Why am I starting with Season 2? Well, I'm really not. A couple years ago, I covered a show by the name of Kamen Rider Amazons. Since then, the show's second season was released, as well as a movie that concluded the series. Both seasons were subsequently released here in the US through Amazon Prime's streaming service, where the show was renamed to Amazon Riders. In short, I'll be covering Kamen Rider Amazons Season 2. 5 years have passed since the Tlaloc incident that left only a small group of Amazons left alive. In that time, a new organization, Competitive Creatures Control Center, or 4C, has been created with support from the government to hunt down and exterminate the remaining Amazons. But when humans begin turning into Amazons, a result of a strain of lysogenic cells that mutate human DNA, 4C reorganizes to investigate this problem. Chihiro, a boy raised by Amazons and possessing the ability to become a Kamen Rider, who once worked for 4C, has reappeared working with Team Kiss, a group of teenage vigilantes hunting down Amazons for the internet views. What's causing people to become Amazons? How is Chihiro connected to this event? And who is the mysterious girl Iu that Chihiro finds attractive enough to not want to eat? I'm gonna be completely honest. I am not a fan of this season. I just feel that it's inferior to the first season in a number of ways. But before that, I do want to talk about one of the positives. I love the fact that most of the cast from this first season reprised their roles in this season, and they are the highlight of the season. In fact, my two favorite episodes focus almost exclusively on the returning characters and showing just how much these characters have changed over the 5 years, if of course they've changed at all. Not everything stays the same, and these episodes really showcase this fact. Unfortunately, one of the problems I have with this season is the new characters. Let's start with the lead of this season, Chihiro. His backstory is shrouded in mystery for a good chunk of the season, and when it is revealed, I understand why it was obscured. That doesn't change the fact that I feel no attachment to him as a character, though. All we know about the character by the end of the first episode is that he was raised by Amazons, has a hunger for human flesh that he suppresses, he can transform into a Kamen Rider, and then he had previously been part of 4C before disappearing without an explanation. In fact, Chihiro's whole time with 4C before the start of the season is mostly a mystery, one that never gets explored at all. And Chihiro's sole motivation for working with 4C again is because of his fascination with Iu. Iu, however, remains almost completely devoid of emotion for the majority of the series, with only occasional spurts of strange behavior that are somehow Chihiro's fault. The reason why she remains so emotionless is that she was killed by her father after he had turned into a lysogenic Amazon, and 4C brought her back to life as an undead soldier that can turn into the Crow Amazon. And the fact that she's dead gets repeated ad nauseum. Chihiro is so intent on getting her to express any emotion that it feels like a kid trying to push a square peg through a round hole and refusing to accept that it won't fit. I will say that the 4C members that get the most screen time out of anyone who aren't Chihiro and Iu are pretty decent. Takeshi Kurosaki, who openly hates Amazons, always behaves as though just about everything annoys him, but he still does what he feels needs to be done. His assistant, Ichiro Fudamori, always acts as though just about everything bores him, and as a result, he doesn't try to get into the action, preferring to just stand on the sidelines. The two also rarely ever react to things in any big way, instead sticking to being either annoyed or bored, which does fit their personalities. And these two actually make for pretty good anti-heroes. But the worst of the new characters is Hiroki Nagase, the leader of Team Kiss. After his team falls apart, a result of Chihiro leaving and one of the other members turning into a lysogenic Amazon and needing the only other member, he is hell-bent on getting revenge on the Amazons. For the vast majority of the series, Hiroki is little more than a bump on a log, barely doing anything of note, and even being a hindrance when he decides to join the reformed Nozama Peston service. I get that he's probably supposed to be a stand-in for the average citizen, but he adds very little to the show. I'm actually really glad that the actor, Eiji Akaso, was brought back to the franchise to play the role of Banjo Ryuga in Kamen Rider Build. He absolutely knocks it out of the park with that role, proving that it was the character that sucks, not the actor. The action scenes, however, are top-notch, and the show remains just as gory as in the first season. However, while the concept of the lysogenic Amazons being humans that were mutated into Amazons is an interesting idea, in practice they function identically to the Amazons from the first season, leaving only the fact that they are mutated the only thing setting them apart. Hell, even the mystery of what's causing the lysogenic Amazons gets solved early on, leaving the rest of the plot to focus on who's doing it, why they're doing it, and what the actual source of the lysogenic cells is.
But for as many flaws as I find with this season, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. Just really underwhelming compared to the first season. And this season does have some great moments, but I feel there's just not enough here to recommend the season. I will recommend the show as a whole, and the epilogue movie ties everything up with a nice pretty bow, so that's worth checking out. But Amazon Riders Season 2, on its own, I'll pass. Until next time, see ya.